Men have to learn how to overcome their passivity in leadership. And every woman has to overcome her desire to rule over men. And it's a deadly combination when you have a man that refuses to lead and a woman that is glad to lead. And a Judah and this Canaanite woman are no exception. The minute this happens is an indication of Judah is not ready for leadership. If he can't even lead his own family, then how in the world is he going to lead Israel, right? If you can't do the small thing, how are you going to do the large thing? And again, this goes back to a more of an application for all of us. In our families, who in the world is leading? And I'm not saying who's supposed to lead, I'm saying practically who's leading the family. If it is the woman, you're upside down. And guys, if you're letting your wife lead out, you're wrong. And if you think that's the new masculinity, I'm sorry, you've been feminized. Because that's what's happened. They have feminized men and they're called masculine leadership, masculine toxicity. Okay? And what's happened is you have a bunch of feminized men now. And look, everybody on TV, you can see they're feminized men. They're not in control. Okay? But when we didn't bring that down, and we come down to our way of life as Christians, you see the same dynamic happening in those relationships. It's the same thing. And so we're mirroring the world and not overcoming this Adam and Eve syndrome. And it's causing havoc in families. Well, what will it do? What's the big deal? The big deal is when you show an unnatural authority structure in your home, it's communicated to the children. And then the children will not accept biblical authority or spiritual authority when they're adults either. And so you set the children up for resisting God-given authority. And typically that's what happens. So what goes on? Well, I can tell you this. When they see an upside-down house, they will eventually drift away from the Lord and His authority when they're older, okay, because of that upside-down authority, okay? And people will say, well, you know, anybody can have a kid that's a Cain, and then that's true. That's true. But what if it's that kid, and it's the second kid, and then it's the third kid, and if you have four, it's the fourth kid? What if I keep seeing the pattern in my kid's life that they get out of my house and they want nothing to do with Jesus or church anymore? What if I keep seeing that pattern? Then I think you better do some self-examination about what you're doing in your home. And typically, it comes down to the man is not leading and the woman is. That's what's happening. So people don't like to hear this, but the problem is it's what's true. And it's what they don't want to hear, but it's what they need to hear, because I see it all the time. And it's constantly being the problem. You know who gives us the most problem at Rock Harbor? Take a guess. Take a guess who gives us the most problems, and we have to spend the most time dealing with issues after issues after issues. It's men that won't lead, and their wife is out of control, and they won't rein in their wife. And guess who gets to rein them in? Me. Okay? I then have to do the job of the guy because he won't rein the woman in. And so then I become the bad guy, the bad cop. He becomes the good guy. He goes home, and now she's not ticked off at him, but she's ticked off at me. Guaranteed. And they'll say, I can't believe you're saying this to me. I said, well, I'm the first male to ever tell you that, and you needed to be told that. And they don't like it. But the husband won't say anything. I have to do his job. And I don't like that. So my thing is, this is a big issue. And I can't overemphasize this. It's one of the major problems in our society. Look, man, you know, look at the kinds of leaders we have in men today in politics. Okay? There are good leaders, but the majority of them are feminized leaders. They can't lead properly. They're afraid. They're passive. And you have this, how do you want to say it? A feminized way of doing things. Let me explain that. What do you mean? The feminized way of doing things is compassion without truth. Okay? Compassion without truth. Here's how it works in the marriage dynamic. The way Adam and Eve are created, Adam is going to be more in line with truth because he's less emotional. Eve is more emotional because she's the nurturing one. So the way it's supposed to work is she is supposed to bring the compassion to Adam, and then Adam, with truth, balances the compassion out on how things need to be done. But without her, Adam will not have the compassion that he needs. So that's why she makes the perfect helpmate, because she will bring to his attention those who are hurting. That's the female compassion that you see from women. They see the problem and then they bring it to the head, and the head uses the truth to balance all that out. Okay, so that's the balance. And typically in a home, it'll be the wife that's in tune emotionally with what's ever going on with the kids or other family members, and her role is to bring that to the husband and make him aware of that, because he's not going to be aware of it, because he's truth-centered. Okay, so then he comes in with the truth and says, okay, I hear what you're saying. Someone's hurting. Someone's doing this. Someone's having that. His idea is to apply the truth to each situation so that it's not compassion unbridled. So that, okay, well, you know, he's doing drugs. I understand you feel sorry for him, but here's how we're going to handle this. We're going to put some boundaries and things on him, because her compassion will not want to put boundaries on the person, on the kid. So he has to put the boundaries on in the context of compassion. That's how it works, okay? So then here's the point. So when I bridge this to the culture, I see the men using compassion without truth. Like, for instance, our border. Right? That's an example of people want to be compassionate. Okay, but where is the truth behind this? Can we allow every human being on the planet just to come to America? No, you can't do that, because truth would say, whoa, we can't pay for that. We can't pay for that. We can't allow that. We can't allow people to come in here and have their own ideas. So the truth has to balance that out. But what's happening is a feminization of politics in America. And what's happened is it's a compassion out of control with no boundaries. Well, here's another example. Love is love. So they think that's the compassionate thing, that to allow a human being to love whomever, whatever, and in whatever way they want to love. But see, if you brought that to truth, the truth would say, no. You can't love a tree. You can't love a horse. You know, you can't marry a horse. You can't do that. There's boundaries. And the boundaries, obviously, from God, saying there are certain boundaries in who you may love. You can't love everybody. So another male can't have a sexual relationship with another male. That's not appropriate. A female can't have another sexual relationship with another female, and whatever. Okay? And that seems commonsensical, but when you don't have truth, it seems like I'm being uncompassionate. But what I'm telling you is happening is a feminization of the culture and males without the masculinity, which brings in truth. That's we're not being balanced here. So you can't just, that's the hallmark of the left, is compassion. Okay, I bring this up all the time. The left wants us to be compassionate about the homeless. But what's the truth about it? What's the truth about the homeless? Drugs, mental illness, and quite frankly, they don't want to be part of the system. Now, here's the thing. Those who are homeless that actually want to get back on their feet will take advantage of the mission. They'll take advantage of the government programs. They'll take advantage, and they'll get back on their feet, okay? But the majority of them don't. The majority of them are so mentally ill, they need to be in a mental institution. So the truth is, to be compassionate to that individual who's mentally ill, they need to be in a mental institution where they're not a harm to themselves or anyone else or society. I don't know why we got rid of that in 1984. But at the end of the day, that was so uncompassionate to not create hospitals for mentally ill people. And instead, their compassion threw them on the street. That's not compassion to me. That's saying, sink or swim, baby. I don't care if you freeze out there. We don't want to make mental institutions for you. So go out there and die. That's the left's mentality. It's compassion without truth. You've got to have both. So this issue that you're seeing is a major problem, okay?